What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about what's going on with the markets right now, with levels to watch for, what's happening to Tesla, what's going on with the Senate, the news that came out involving the unemployment numbers, and how the market's responding so far in the pre-market. Before I break anything down about all this information, though, before I talk about what's happening with the market and the levels to watch for, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And finally, don't forget about the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, and it could be worth up to $2,000. Now, anyways, let's talk about the market. What on earth is going on? The market's ripping in the pre-market. Tesla's up to about 210 a share right now, holding above it. And as long as it holds this, it's going to have a lot of bullish momentum perpetuating. On top of that, if you look at SPY, it's currently up about 0.58% in the pre-market. It's holding above 424. If it keeps this up, it's looking very, very good. And we may see a lot of buyers step in, especially after the bullish news that came out. But first, let's talk about the news real quick. With Elon Musk, the news is still talking about his trip to China. There's not much else going on for Tesla. I was looking like crazy, and since last night, I'm not seeing anything new as of right now. However, some news came out yesterday night about the debt ceiling. This was very, very good news for the US economy in a way. At least it's going to be interpreted that way. Because you have to remember that Biden and McCarthy had the agreement. They passed it on to the Senate. Not the Senate, the House. The House approved it on Wednesday. Then the Senate got this agreement. And the Senate just passed it yesterday night. Now President Joe Biden has to sign the agreement, and it's going to be, once again, raising the debt ceiling. It's going to be done with. Now, the thing about this is there was no guarantee the Senate would do it this quickly, but they still managed to do it, and they rushed through it because of the debt ceiling deadline, which would come very, very soon. And Schumer kept his word. So did many other politicians, technically, about them closing the deal. That does not mean I trust them, but at the end of the day, once again, the market's loving this news. Let me remind you guys that we have about 500,000 calls expiring on SPY today, and about over 1.3 million puts expiring. 2.8 is the put to call ratio. The market makers are going to try to hold the market up at some higher level, well above 416, or they're going to just try very, very hard to squeeze shorts and continue to pump these markets. It's going to cause as much pain as possible for the shorts. And they simultaneously win because they're the ones that took the positions on the opposite ends, right? When you buy a call, someone sold that call to you. When you buy puts, someone sold those puts to you. Selling puts is a technically bullish position. And you have to look at how the market makers would perceive this and what they're doing right now to shorts. Now, to add on to this, let me just remind you guys the unemployment numbers came out. 3.7% was unemployment. This was higher than the forecast. So we're seeing some signs of unemployment going up. When non-farm payrolls went up too, the participation rate is also very close to expectations. And for now, most of the data is in line with expectations. The reason why the market didn't really sink off this news is the first thing is unemployment is going up, which is telling us that there's a weakness in the economy now that's starting to show. But another piece of news came out, another piece of data, and that is we added 339,000 jobs in May. This is now fueling the soft landing narrative that, yeah, maybe unemployment's going up a bit, but the jobs are still being added. And maybe, this spike in unemployment's not that bad because the economy has strength, right? The economy still has strength. It's still fueling the soft landing narrative by the Fed. If you look at this, the news is just very happy about that. And this is still helping out with what the Fed speakers are trying to say about how, the recession may not be that bad and this and that. And the market's still liking this. So the market did not tank off this news. It did drop initially, but then now it's trying to bounce again. And the market looks like it's going to remain resilient despite the news that just came out. Now, that's a pretty good sign. Now let's talk about the levels on SPY and many of these stocks. I'm going to try to be very brief because it's almost time for open. I'll need to upload this video as fast as possible. Anyways, for SPY, we need this thing to hold this on a level basis for every single dollar. So it's like 424, we need to hold that. So far, we're holding it quite nicely. Now that we're holding it, there's a good chance it's going to make its way up to 425 to 426. Okay, this zone right over here is where we have a lot of supply, and there's going to be a lot of resistance up here. If it manages to break 426, okay, we're going to see 427.5. Break that, we're going to get into the 430s probably. We're going to touch 430 most likely if we break 427.5. We're looking bullish for now. We are gapping up, and that's a somewhat significant risk you have to remember, because when we gap up, we tend to see these giant gaps develop, which are going to act as magnets in the future. But here's the thing: if you're bearish, just hypothetically, watch support as 424. If that fails us, the next major level is going to be around 423.5 to 422.99. And then after that, we have this gap all the way down to 422, all the way down there, followed by 420.8, and then where the 1 hour 50 EMA is at 420.42. Those are support zones to watch for, quite a bit of support, but I'm leaning more bullish for now. Into open, there's no sign of weakness on the hourly time frame. There is some weakness on the 30 minutes, some chop, but overall, I'm leaning more in favor of the bulls. I think we're going to be testing 425 to 426 very soon. If we manage to break it, watch 427.5, then 430, or even higher than that if we just continue to rip off the dead ceiling news. For Tesla, we're holding above 210 right now. We're just barely holding it for the time being. We are losing some momentum on the hourly time frame now, and could get a very choppy open, because Tesla tends to be a little slow during the first hour. Then it takes a little bit of time to start pumping hard, right? That's what tends to happen to Tesla. We could see something like this happen again. It needs to hold 209 to 210 basically. It needs to hold this area for us to remain bullish, or like stay very, very strong. To remain in a very strong uptrend. If it breaks below 209, we're going to be watching 208.5, 207.5, which is where we have this gap, or very close to like 207.9, and then we have 207 flats, followed by 205, and then 204. I'm not leaning the direction of Tesla dropping that much. I think we could get a slight cool off into open, looking at the MACD on the hourly time frame, because Tesla's a little bit overbought. A slight cool off as soon as the market opens. As long as Tesla holds 210 and to 209, or at least manages to break right back above, then we're going to see Tesla continue to fly. And Tesla has potential to hit 212.5, 214, followed by 216.6 to 217.83. That's where we have this resistance right over here. If it manages to break 217.83, it's going to fly into the 220s quite easily. But we have this major resistance to break first. All right, so I'm leaning more bullish on Tesla. We might get a slight cool off in the morning, looking at this current trend right now, because momentum is slowing down a bit. Slight cool off in the very, very start, followed by another rip to the upside, where I'm leaning towards. I think the market may see another squeeze today. As long as these things perpetuate, as long as market makers continue to hold us up. Finally, let me just briefly go over the QQQ. If we're bullish, we need to see it break above 353 to 354. If it manages to hold above 354, we're going to see this thing fly to 355.5. Break that, then there's 358. Now, for bearish on the QQQ, it's gonna come down to 352. It has to break below that and then retest the hourly 50 EMA around 349.83. It is losing some momentum on the hourly time frame, and this is part of why Tesla's slowing down a little bit too into the open. But that's completely fine, because we are gapping up. As long as support holds, there is potential for it to try to bounce anyways later on, as buyers could still step in, and volume is likely going to increase off the news about the debt ceiling. So there's still potential, but we need to watch confirmation and a nice break above 354 for this thing to turn very bullish. And for now, just watch these levels. For Tesla, don't forget, it needs to hold above 210. And also, we want to see this thing get to 212.5 and then break above that. And then the trend is going to heavily favor the bulls after that. But for now, it still is favoring the bulls, of course. I'm still favoring them, but I need a little bit more confirmation. Besides that, Nvda is going to be fighting for 400. Break that. There's going to be 405, 410, 412.5, and then it could get closer to 419 to 420 if we break all those levels. For bearish, make sure you watch support around the 397 area. Finally, what else is there? We have Aapl. Apple's still holding above 180 very nicely. It's actually at 181 right now. If it breaks 181.5, it's going to make its way up to 182.5, followed by 185, and that's going to be very bullish. It is losing some momentum for now. Just a little bit of momentum is being lost, as this thing is quite overbought, so it could cool off a little bit. We could see this get a little closer to 180, but as long as it holds above 180, it's going to remain very bullish in my eyes. And anyways, that's what I have for this one. So I just wanted to say I appreciate every single one of you for listening. Please have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and do what you have to do, okay? Get ready for the market open, Tesla in the market to the moon, and peace out.